It's Aleya Antoine. You're listening to Tease podcast.
Everyone loves the tease. Stop.
Don't get too excited. I am like screaming my head off. I think that this began a functioning panic attack in me. Like, because I am freaking out. And the first thing that goes through my head is like, oh my God, my career is gone. Like, it was like, I'm never going to be able to podcast again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tease podcast. Happy Tuesday, bitches. It is so great to be back with you guys. I'm not gonna lie, though. If I look a little spacey in this episode, it is because the amount of stress and anxiety that is going on in my head right now. We just applied for our apartment, and it's the one that we really, really want. And I always forget, like, how much of a mindfuck moving is, applying for apartments is. Not to mention the whole fact that apartments want you to make this much money when it's like, okay, if I was actually rich, do you think I'd be moving into a fucking apartment? Like, are you kidding me? We put in our application, and so I have just been trying not to think about it. I've been checking my email, though, like, every 2 minutes, and I need to stop. But if I look spacey, it's because that's what I'm thinking about. I think that it's because I have actually moved like 10 to 12 times in my life, but I always block out how much moving sucks. And I know that I do because I always tell people, just move. If you don't like where you're at, just move. Everyone should move. But I'm not gonna lie, I see why people stay where they're put, because this is fucking stressful. And I think it's just one of those things to where you ever like do something and you're like, oh, I've done this before, it will be easy. But then you're like, wait a minute. It was actually really hard. I just like took that part out of my brain and I'm looking at it from rose-colored lenses. That is where I'm at. So today I'm going to hit y'all with a mini episode, although I do talk a shit ton. So I'm not sure how mini this mini will be, but life has literally, and quite literally, I mean, knocked me out this week. Guys, I actually have something fake on my face as we speak. There's a part of my face that I was not born with, and now it's time for me to be honest and tell my truth. So this week on Monday, right, me and Kai are like, this is going to be a stressful week. You ever wake up on Monday and you're like, I know this week is going to hit, and not hit like how a blunt hits, kind of hit like how a tow truck hits type of thing. So we were like, this week is going to be fucking crazy. We're gonna have to apply for the apartment. We're gonna have to apply for the movers. Like, you're gonna have to work back to back. I did 10 shifts in a fucking row, like just work. I was doing the podcast at the same time, but I thought that was the extent of where my stress would be. You know, the universe is hilarious in its own demented way. And so on Monday, we had already like had a little bit of disappointment on our apartment hunt. So I was already not in a good mood. And if you know me personally, I don't even know if y'all could tell in this podcast, but like when I get in a bad mood, I am definitely one of those people that can like suck the life out of something. Like, I know that when I get in a bad mood, like I need to be quarantined in a room alone because I am just a danger to society. So I was already in a bad mood because of that. I was like, I'm on my 10th shift at work. Like, I'm fucking tired. Like, I was just out of it. I was exhausted and I was angry. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go to work. My manager let me come in an hour late. I'm going to get it over with, make some money, and that will have me smile. So I'm driving to work, right? And I don't know, something just fell off on my drive. Anywho, I was already annoyed, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get ice for the bar. I go to the back, I get some ice, I pour it in, and then I'm like, should I do a second bucket of ice? And I'm like, probably not. Like, I probably won't need it. It won't be that busy. But I'm like, you know what? Let's just get the second bucket. That way, you don't even have to worry about getting anything later, right? So I go to get the second bucket of ice. I dump it in our thing. I go to put the bucket up and I'm walking back. Where our ice buckets are, where you fill it up, I don't know if y'all have ever worked at a restaurant, but like there's a big ice maker. So you pour it in the buckets, like you just scoop it, right? I put the bucket up and I'm walking back from the ice thing. Our dish pit where they wash the dishes for the restaurant is on the way out the door, right? So I'm walking and there is a worker there who like, I'm going to be honest. I don't like her. I don't like her at all. And she's washing something, right? And I'm like going around. I'm like, excuse me. And she hurries up and like turns. Like she turns all the way out while holding something and with her elbow out. So I kind of like, you know, like when someone turns almost into you, so you kind of like suck in and you're like, whoop. Like you do like one of those skinny guy like moves. You're like, whoop, whoop. Let me go around you, right? So I go whoop. And then I tried to sidestep around because I was already walking. When I tried to sidestep, I stepped into fry grease. My leg goes up behind me and I fall face down on our fucking floor. And not just face down, my tooth chomped to the ground. And one thing about falling, I've done it before. When I was in middle school, I remember we were doing a backpedaling competition, me and my friends, and we're like, who can run backwards the fastest? We're running, right? The tallest guy, like, we were in middle school and this man was already 6 foot. Like, he was just one of those boys. He falls because they're playing basketball. I trip backwards over him. But keep in mind, this man is 6 foot and like built. Like, he like was already ready for like high school basketball at that point. I fly in the air backwards, fall backwards. I fractured my skull. I lost hearing in my right ear. I was in the hospital for a week. I had a concussion. I couldn't eat. Like, I actually, like, I can't believe I survived that. You know what I mean? So as I'm falling, it feels like it's in slow motion. And a part of me is having like this PTSD of like, oh my God, it's happening again. I'm like, this is the end. And then the other part of me is like, I can't see anything. I don't know if my eyes are open or not, but I blacked out. I couldn't see anything. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm falling. It's going to happen again. So then I scream because I'm freaked out and I go, ah! But when I scream, I immediately think, Aleya, shut your fucking mouth because you're going to fall on your tooth. By the time that thought went to my head, I was already on the ground. Like, it was like, you're going to hit your tooth. Boom, hits my tooth. And I open my eyes pissed as fuck because I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? One of the cooks, he helps me up. And like, I feel like my mouth is like not there. Like, I'm like, there's something wrong with my mouth, but I don't know what it is. So I'm like, am I okay? Like, is my mouth okay? And keep in mind, like, this cook, he is like the sweetest guy that I work with. So like, he's not going to tell me. I don't even think that he saw that my tooth was chipped, but I'm pretty sure he just saw there's no blood. So I guess you're good. So he was like, I think you're good. But I'm like, something's wrong. I run out to the bathroom. I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. I look in the mirror and the bottom of my left side front tooth, like, you know, these two big beaver teeth? Yeah, this one, the whole bottom was gone. It was completely cracked and I lose my shit. I am like hysterically crying in the bathroom. Like, I'm like, no, like, why did this happen to me? Fuck. Like, I'm like screaming bloody murder. A guy's walking to the bathroom and I can hear him go, everything okay in there? I am like screaming my head off. I think that this began a functioning panic attack in me. Like, because I am freaking out. And the first thing that goes through my head is like, oh my God, my career is gone. Like, it was like, I'm never going to be able to podcast again. I'm never going to be able to smile again. I just bought a new fucking camera and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even going to be able to take pictures or anything. I can't even close smile consistently. Like, my close smile is not where it should be. It doesn't hit all the time. I'm like, this is the end of me. Like, my front tooth is chipped and I'm like, maybe if I was a guy, I could get away with this and actually make a joke out of it. But as a woman, I can't walk around with a chipped tooth. Like, I am like losing my shit. I'm like, my career is over before it has even begun. My career is over before I even made a career. Like, it's just not in the possibilities. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this day was already going bad. Why the fuck would the universe knock me out? Literally. So then I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. I can't walk around with a chipped tooth and I'm freaking out. Like, I can't be here. Like, I just can't. I run into the restaurant and I am like crying, but I'm trying to hold my composure and I'm like, I'm just gonna grab this. I grab my purse, I grab my water bottle. Everyone's like, Aleya, are you okay? Aleya, are you okay? My manager's like, Aleya, are you okay? And I think that this is when I lost my shit. I was like, Fletcher, can I please just go home? Like, my tooth is falling down and my tooth chipped. Can I please leave? And he's like, Okay. I think that also, like, guys inherently get freaked out when girls are hysterically crying. Like, men are not, like, natural nurturers. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that studies say, like, if a man is not a psychopath and they see a woman crying, like, they instantly, like, go into shell shock mode and they don't know what to do. So I think I accidentally shell shocked my manager. I'm running to the car, but as I'm running to the car, I'm calling Kai and I'm screaming bloody murder on the phone while I'm walking to my car. I'm like, Kai, what was I doing? Kai, I didn't get help. Like, I'm, like, screaming, walking to the car, and a bunch of people are coming out of their cars in the parking lot, and they're like, ma'am, I can get you an ambulance. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm okay. I can't talk. Like, honestly, the fact that this wasn't being filmed for reality TV auditions pisses me off. I deserve to be on reality TV based on the way that I handled it. I personally don't think that I was dramatic. According to everyone else, I was dramatic. And honestly, looking back, I would have handled it the exact same way. So, Real Housewives, I'm here. New Netflix reality, I'm here. This is my audition. But honestly, my first thought was like, I can't be in here. Like, I can't be in a restaurant where I chip my tooth. So I'm running to the car, right? I call Kai and Kai's like, oh my God, what happened? And Kai just keeps going, are you bleeding? Are you bleeding? I'm like, I can't do this with these questions. Like, your questions are stressing me out when I'm already hysterically crying. And Kai's like, but are you bleeding? And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I can't do this. And I hang up the phone. I'm like trying to research, do you go to the dentist? Do you go to the hospital? Do I need to get an ambulance? Do I go to the ER? Like, what do you do when you chip your tooth? Like, what do you do when a piece of your face... Oh my God, did y'all just hear that? It's the tooth. What do you do when a piece of your face is missing? So I'm like trying to look it up, but my tears are blocking it. So I call my mom, I call my stepdad, and I'm like, I chipped my tooth. And they're just kind of like, my stepdad also in a shell shock mode. And he's like, go to the dentist? Like, at first he thinks that I'm laughing. Then he's like, oh fuck, like just go to the emergency dentist. My mom takes the phone and she's like, Aleya, what you need to do is you need to go in to your job and ask for an incident report. You need to take pictures of the floor and you need to fill it out so that way they cover the cost of everything. And I'm like, Mom, like I can't solve problems right now. Like, can I please just do this tomorrow? And she's like, you need to go back into that restaurant right this second and get pictures. And do not leave the parking lot until you do. I expect to see photo evidence that you collected the pictures and that you're good. So my stepdad's hitting me with just confusion and like, I guess just go to the dentist. And my mom is telling me company protocol so that way my tooth is compensated for, which like I get the message, but honestly all I wanted was for someone to freak out with me. Like I wanted someone to be like, oh my God. So then I asked my coworker and I'm like, Annika, like I can't go into the restaurant. I'm so embarrassed. I'm hysterically crying. Like, I can't go back into the restaurant. Can you please take pictures of the floor for me? She takes pictures of the floor for me. Next thing I know, Kai pulled up at my job because he was like, you sounded crazy on the phone. There's no way you are going to be able to drive. And then Kai looks at me and is like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I was freaking out. I thought that you were like dying. But it's just your tooth? And I'm like, what do you mean just your tooth? This is the equivalent of dying. What do you mean just your tooth? This is like big people problems. Like I need an ambulance. I need a fucking stretcher, you know? So we go to the dentist. The dentist, at first when I had called, I don't think they could really understand me. And they told me that there was a wait. I get to the dentist. I'm like, do y'all have someone that I can see right now? And the lady's like, sweetie, like you have to wait. And then I smile, like I don't smile, but I like show my mouth, like, and I'm like, please, like I chipped my tooth. Like, do you think that y'all can fix it right now? Can you please fix it? And she's like, oh, okay, sweetie. She's like, okay, just take a breath. We will fix it. I sign all the forms. Kai goes back to my job to get the incident report, and they fixed my tooth that day. Oh my God, my neighbors keep running. I'm like telling a really heartbreaking story and they think it's a great time to run across the hallway. Anywho, they fill my tooth within like 20 minutes. Like this bitch was the fastest person alive. I need to know her name. Comfort Dental. I love you. She fixed my tooth on site and now you can see that they filled it. And I guess whenever you break a front tooth, they just fill it in like filler. And you know what? I will admit that, like, I'm very thankful. This fall, as I told you about my past fall, could have gone so much worse. Even the fact that my tooth didn't knock the fuck out completely is ridiculous. My permanent retainer was still intact. Like, there were so many blessings that I had from this fall of not getting too hurt. I could have broke my arm. I could have fractured my skull again. I could have knocked out my whole face. Like, it could have gone so much worse. But it didn't change the fact that, like, I still was really upset about the tooth thing, especially because the dentist did tell me, hey, like, don't crunch on things too much, don't do this too much, and if it falls out, just feel free to come back. And I was like, falls out? Like, my tooth can fall out again? Like, the filling can fall out, so now every day I wake up, I turn over, I look at Kai, and I say, good morning, is my tooth still there? But honestly, I was so happy that I got it fixed on the spot because I was not going to go to work until that was fixed. Like, I went in the next day and everyone was like, Aleya, like, we're so surprised that you're here. And I'm like, oh, like, I need money, but I was not going to come back in unless my tooth was fixed. Like, you could not pay me enough to go in with a broken tooth. Like, I was so embarrassed. Like, guys, I don't know if embarrassed is even the word. Like, I walked in with anxiety because I was like, fuck, like, I have only been working at this job for what, like 2 months, and I'm already like breaking things on the job. Like, these people don't even know my last name by heart, and I'm breaking my tooth. Like, how embarrassing. So at first I was like, I don't think I can work there anymore. Like, I looked at Kai and I was like, I think that we're gonna have to move next week. Like, we need to speed this up. I need to get out of here. But honestly, I went back into work. And, you know, when I was a kid, I was never the kid that, like, oh, you know those kids that would get a cast for fucking everything? Like, they hurt their arm even a smidge and they'd be like, I need a cast. Something, like, minor would happen, they would be like, I need a Band-Aid. Like, those kids that were just, like, so desperate for attention that they would get, like, mildly hurt just so that way everyone would be like, are you okay? Like, I remember my friend, she, like, didn't even fracture or twist her ankle. It was just hurting, and she told me that she got a cast and crutches so that way she could get attention. Like, I hated those kids, and I was never one of those kids. Like, I was like, I would rather have attention for, like, being hot as fuck, or, like, I would rather have attention for, like, I don't know, like, all A's. Like, I would rather have attention for, like, something good. Like, I want attention when it's for something that, like, I earned, worked for, and deserved, and people are like, she is that bitch. She is that girl. Who is this girl? And I don't want attention for breaking my tooth. Like, that's not giving that girl. It's pissing me off, you know? But what I will say is I get it now. I get those kids. I understand those kids. I'm sorry for judging those kids. I take back everything because when I went into work the next day, I was greeted with the most praise that I have ever gotten on the job. Everyone came up to me. People I wasn't even expecting was like, Aleya, are you okay? I am so happy that you're okay. Like, to hear how thankful everyone was that I was okay. Like, what? Y'all are glad I'm here? You're happy to see me? You were thinking about me all night? And then, since I got my tooth fixed, everyone was like, girl, you can't even tell that you broke anything. You look gorgeous. The amount of hype up that I was getting, like, I could get used to this shit. Like, you think I'm pretty. You think I'm important. You think I matter? Girl, I am about to... Actually, no, I don't even want to put that into the universe, but, like, I get it. I understand those kids now. Everyone was so kind, so sweet. It made me feel so much better. But I will say that, like, humans are funny because after you break something, you hurt something. Honestly, at least for me, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was how I chipped my tooth. Like, I didn't want to talk about it. Literally every single person proceeded to tell me a story about how they themselves or a person they knew chipped their tooth. I listened to, like, over 10 falling and chipping their tooth stories that day. And I get it. If I knew someone that happened to, I would probably tell this story and be like, girl, it's happened to me too. But after learning that I have the potential of my tooth falling out again, the last thing I wanted to hear was the amount of ways that could happen. Like, they were like, oh, this happened and then I chipped my tooth. This happened and then my dad chipped his tooth. And I'm like, that's great, guys. But now I am at high risk for chipping my tooth again. And I would prefer not to ruin glass bongs for me and know that if I put my mouth on my glass bong the wrong way, I could chip my tooth again. Like, I just don't want to think about it. But humans are really funny because that was the way that everyone was trying to relate and comfort me. But all it was doing was kind of scaring me. And I was like, I didn't even think of these possibilities. Like, I am a walking risk for chipping my tooth again. You know what I mean? But it's okay. Everyone was so sweet. I work with so many great people, and I am going to miss it actually when I move. Everyone was sweet except for the fucking bitch that I was walking around when I did fall. Like, keep in mind, like, she has beef with everyone. But after that, I wasn't expecting anyone to honestly ask me if I was okay, tell me they hoped I was okay. Like, I was not expecting that. If you didn't say anything, I'm not holding it against you, because maybe if I didn't really know the person, I wouldn't say anything because I would be like, I don't really know what to say, you know what I mean? But I'm behind the bar. She works in the kitchen. I'm behind the bar stocking stuff. This bitch walks behind the bar, comes up to me and goes, I see you're wearing the same shoes from yesterday still. And here's the thing. I specifically ask, hi, can I please borrow your black shoes? Because the last thing I want to do is walk into the restaurant with the same shoes and have someone say that shit to me like, oh, you're still wearing them. You know what I mean? So I knew that that was a possibility, which is why I deliberately didn't wear the same shoe. So I look at her and I'm going, nope, these are a different pair. And she goes, oh, well, I can't tell if those are non-slip. And I go, and your point is? And then she just leaves. Doesn't say that I hope you're okay. When I fell right next to her from walking around her. Didn't help me up or anything. And I would be fine with all that. But if you're going to take the time to come into my space to be a fucking bitch and ask those questions, what is your point? What is your point? Why are you angry? Why are you mad? Like, I do not like her. I do not like her. And that's all I have to say. And I had to get that off my chest. I had to share my truth. Because that was just so bizarre. I would not walk up behind someone else's area where I have no business being just to be mean to them. Like, here's the thing. I know how I talk. I know I could probably come off as a bitch sometimes. That's fine. Whatever. So do a lot of my friends. But the mean girl activity of like cornering me at the bar to talk shit is what I don't like. And it's what I don't respect. And yeah, I'll keep y'all updated on that story. It also did remind me of just how funny perspective is, because my manager was like, Aleya, I just want to apologize because when you were crying and asked to go home, I hesitated and I thought about that all night. And I was like, what? You hesitated? I thought that I freaked you out. And then he's apologizing to me and like, I'm so sorry I hesitated. And I'm like, trust me, I didn't even notice. If anything, I'm sorry for freaking you out and screaming in your face. And so it's really funny how some of the things that we overthink don't even need to be overthought. But I was like, no, don't worry. From an overthinker, I was also overthinking our conversation from my end. And it just reminded me that no conversation is that deep. And a lot of times people don't even notice your flaws. So yeah. And also don't be a mean girl. But at the end of the day, my tooth is fine. Me and Kai ate Olive Garden to just solidify the struggle bus on Monday. And we made it out on the other side. I do have some fakeness in my mouth, and that's okay. It happens to everyone, and you know what? It's just preparing me for when I finally have fake boobs. But what I wanted to do with the other half of this episode, by the way, I'm in the middle of a swerve. I'm in the middle of a segue. What I wanted to do was do an Operation Tease. Woo, woo. I do have some fakeness in my mouth, and that's okay. It happens to everyone, and you know what? It's just preparing me for when I finally have fake boobs. We have not done an Operation Tease in a little bit, and with the seasons changing, the cold coming in, as you see, I'm literally wearing a jacket right now. I know that we have the potential for our self-esteem and mood, confidence, just overall mental health to decline with the winter season coming up. It's a thing. Seasonal depression is a thing. We're like re-regulating to a new season. You know what I mean? And with that, it can have an effect on you. It can have you questioning yourself. And the other day I was talking to one of my coworkers and she was like, I was supposed to work out this summer all the time. I was supposed to do all this summer and I didn't do it. And I'm just feeling like shit. So I'm comforting her. I'm telling her, girl, it doesn't even matter. You look amazing. And one of the ladies who was dining in at the bar was like, hey, like, your name's Aleya, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, by the way, everyone needs a friend like you. Like, every girl needs a friend like you to tell them that they are amazing, that men should not bring them down. Like, I've been listening to y'all's conversation. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, that's so crazy because I literally have a podcast. So that makes me feel a little bit less crazy about getting on a mic and telling girls advice. You know what I mean? But I wanted to give y'all some advice that I would give a friend when they're feeling down, because I know that there's a lot of things that we're going through at this age, a lot of just questioning ourselves, our lives, our wellness. And so I want to give y'all the advice that I would want from a friend. I would give y'all the advice that I would tell my friends based on multiple scenarios that could happen. So I looked at some write-ins that I've gotten. I looked at some of my old DMs. I even looked up stuff online for common things that we may be going through at this period in time. And I want to tell you something that will boost your confidence, tell you something that you need to hear to smile, tell you something that will just make you know that you're that bitch. Because I'm telling you guys, everyone who listens to this pod, I know that y'all are those bitches, and I know that y'all are perfect, beautiful angels. And so I want y'all to just believe this part. So this segment, this Operation Tease, is going to basically be like something that you need to listen to when you need a friend. When you need a friend, feel free to play this back, and I hope that it can help you feel better. And obviously, y'all know me, so y'all know everything is in my notes app, the scenarios I wrote down. So I wrote down scenarios that you guys may have written in that you're going through. I wrote down scenarios that I go through all the time. And I wrote these scenarios that I found online that a lot of people our age go through as well. Or at any age. I mean, honestly, human problem cycle. You could have the same problem. I mean, I've had some of the same problems that I had when I was 10 years old happen now. You know what I mean? I was 12 when I fucking fell down. And now I'm going through the same thing again at 22. So the first scenario that I wrote down is you're feeling like you don't have the body type that you want. I know that this is a huge contention point for a lot of people. I know that a lot of people could have the healthiest lifestyle and maybe a perfect physique or whatever to someone else, but to themselves, they are not confident in it. And to that, I want to say that if you're living a healthy lifestyle, if you're eating remotely healthy, and I don't mean by dieting, I don't diet, I don't think that it's that great for you, but if you're just remotely being healthy and you're trying your fucking hardest, then I think that there's something that you need to appreciate about your body. And I think that it's also, you need to appreciate that you have a functioning body. Think about all the things that your body is capable of doing that maybe some other people can't even do. You know what I mean? I never have once been grateful for my teeth. But when I fell on my fucking face, I was grateful for my other teeth. You know what I mean? And so think of everything that your body has done for you. Your body helps you walk every day. Your body helps you live life every day. Your body helps you go to a concert. Your body helps you wear that outfit that you've been wanting to wear. Thanks to your body, you're human. And so it's something to be grateful for, and also realize that, like, I think that it's almost impossible to have a body that checks off every single box. You know what I mean? It's impossible to have the best boobs, the best stomach, the best ass, the best arms, the best height, the best legs. It's not possible to get an A+ in every single area naturally. It's just not. And so you have to be thankful for the areas that you are liking. You know what I mean? Like, I always say I would love to have bigger boobs. I always think that. I would love to be taller too. I would really love to be 5'6" or 5'7". And honestly, I would love to have a longer torso, because my torso is so fucking short that, like, any shirt goes down to my waist, and all my pants don't fit right either. But there's also so many great things that I have about my body that I think makes up for all of those. So I don't let that keep me up at night. You know what I mean? And if I'm eating remotely healthy and I'm trying, then what else can you expect from yourself, you know? And if you really, really, really want to change it, you can just save up your money, and nowadays you could just change it. You know what I mean? That is what I plan on doing. Feeling like nothing is going right. Girl, the amount of times that I say I feel like nothing's going right, Monday, that was like my mantra of the day. But I will say that in the long run, it is possible to fail upwards. When I graduated school, was really stressed out because I needed to take the semester off of working. So I was just doing school for my senior year, and I knew that I would not be able to balance an in-person job. You know what I mean? So while I was doing that, I was doing Instacart on the side, like on the weekends, whatever I could. You know what I mean? And I felt like shit about myself. I was like, why is this happening to me? I feel like such a loser doing this. I'm like shoving my phone in the grocery store's face. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for things to pop up. And I didn't have as much money as I'm used to. Like, I used to be a server and bartender at Hooters and Twins. Do you know how much money those girls make compared to like what I was making my last semester of college? Like, I was making 50% less basically. So I was like, I only have enough money to pay my bills. You know what I mean? And I just overall was like, this sucks. Everything is going wrong. If that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have gotten this seasonal job that I have now. And guys, when I tell y'all this job was the absolute most perfect fit for me that I am so grateful for, I somehow found a job that let me be a bartender. And when you try to be a bartender at restaurants, a lot of times, even if you have experience, you can't do it right away because there's servers who work there already that want to do it. They let me be a bartender literally immediately. They have the chillest staff. My manager is so nice. I have so much less protocols and strict rules that I have to follow compared to my other places. I really wanted a job where I could be in workout clothes, but I also wanted to make tips. I got to wear tennis skirts, make a lot of money. I saved up an insane amount from the amount of shifts that I have. I was able to get a ton of shifts because there was availability from it. And the job was seasonal. So the job actually ends right when we're planning to move. How fucking perfect is that? And if it wasn't for that part of my life, I wouldn't have found this job. I might have just went into some random ass job that I would have hated. Maybe some corporate job that would have made me fucking count how much liquor I'm constantly using. You know what I mean? So sometimes the hindsight go crazy. Sometimes the hindsight goes crazy, and it is possible to fail upwards. Oh my God, this is one that like I have definitely dealt with a lot in my life. Feeling like your friends constantly make fun of you for something that you can't change. Honey, those aren't your friends. I get that there are some friendships where y'all tease each other. I tease my friends all the time. Me and Kai tease each other all the time. But you know those friends where they are actually just a total bitch to you, and then they disguise it with, I'm just mean to the people that I like. I'm just mean to the people that I love. I'm just kidding. But every time they hit you with the low blow and then have the nerve to say that they're just kidding, I have had friends to where I will have conversations with them and I leave 40% of our conversations crying or rethinking something about my life. When I was in that Instacart period, I literally had a friend tell me, I think that me and Kai should go do this, and this, and then you could just be stuck here doing Instacart. And that was like when I was really insecure about that, and I started crying. I was walking to my car the other day leaving work, and I heard these 3 group of friends walking by, and one of the friends was screaming at the other guy, "You look like a shadow, you look like a shadow," because it was dark outside. And the guy's like, "I love my skin. I love my melanin. Like, I don't care, blah, blah, blah." And all I could think is, oh my God, I've had friends like that to where like, maybe they'll like make like a racist joke or like a gay joke or something, you know what I mean? And they're like, I'm just kidding. Like, you're my best friend. I was just teasing you. Like, we can tease each other about that. You know what I mean? But honestly, it's not fucking funny. It's not funny to be mean to your friends. It's not funny to be a bitch to your friends. It's definitely not funny to make racist jokes, make homophobic jokes. And from being someone that has been on the other side of that, it's also not funny to accept that. Like, I've seen so many friends that just let their friends get away with whatever. And I'm like, your mental health is going to be on the decline in this friendship. You're going to be in therapy. You're going to be in therapy and you're going to be rethinking this. And I'm going to tell you, you need to lay your fucking foot down and you need to tell your friends to stop making fun of you, because half of the time those friends are probably actually jealous of you. And what they're doing is they're picking at you to make you feel worse and make themselves feel better. So don't let your friends get away with bullshit. And if you lose your friends for not letting them make fun of you, that is the most dumb shit I've ever heard, and that's how you know that they were never a friend. Cuffing season is coming up and you're single. I know a lot of people are like, it's Halloween, I want to do a partner costume. I want to exchange gifts on Christmas. I want to go to the pumpkin patch. And I want to go watch the lights with my boo thing. But you don't have a boo thing? Please don't get desperate and find a shitty boo thing. Because I have to tell you guys, a lot of people are in shitty relationships. And you should be thankful that you're not in a shitty relationship. And also, I will say, as someone who is in a relationship during this time, yes, it's an amazing thing to be. But I will say being single, you spend a lot less money on it. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. And if you're not in a relationship because it just hasn't worked out, then that's just not where you need to be right now. You don't need to be in a relationship. You know what I mean? And if you are in a relationship and it's going great, that's great too. I think that both things have pros and cons. And I don't think that anyone should feel bad about being in a relationship at this time. And I also don't think that anyone should feel bad about being single at this time. I put career uncertainty. You have no idea what you're doing career-wise. That is the song and dance that you might have multiple times in your life. And all I can say is that at the end of the day, a career or job is just to make money so you can simply live. Find a way to make money in the now. Find a way to live in the now. And trust me, your career will find you. I honestly believe that. I think that it's also the best way to figure out what career you want to do is think about what lifestyle you want to live and then kind of match it with that. You know what I mean? Like, I would never want to be a lawyer. I would never want to be up filing things. I wouldn't want to do criminal court. That would scare me. I wouldn't want to look at scary documents. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to do that. But a lawyer is a great job. And a lot of people will be like, man, that lawyer girl is doing a lot better than you. But I don't want to be that. So I don't even care. You know what I mean? Like, figure out the lifestyle that you want. And that will really help narrow down your career. Like, literally, Kai had a whole career in the military, right? And that led them to barbering. The pipeline, you wouldn't think to see coming. But it found them. So, like, I wouldn't worry about the career thing. It will find you. And just find some way that you can make money in the now that you enjoy. Like, for me, that would be bartending. I don't plan on making a career out of it. But I need money, and I need it in the now, so I do that, and that's fine. Kai actually just heard me. Kai just heard me say that, so they want to show you their new haircut.
Hello, I am the new host of Tease Pod.
Your hair does look good.
Aleya had some second thoughts on me getting a mid-fade, but I did it anyways, handing the throne back to Aleya.
The mic.
Or... That's what I meant.
Oh yeah, I'm telling people, like, I wrote down different scenarios that people go through at this age and like advice on it. Do you wanna give advice on one scenario? It's like your friend tells you they're going through this. What would you say? Type of thing.
Going through what though?
I'm gonna read you a scenario.
Okay.
What do you tell someone if they are going through a friendship breakup?
You're going through the breakup for a reason. They're not your friend. You just move on. You're probably way better off without them. Just forget about them. Literally block them and just forget about them. Move on with your life. Do shit how you usually do it. Let it be. They're not your friend for a reason. And then also just remember why you're going through the breakup. So like if it's like for a bad reason because they're a bad person and that's why you guys are going through the breakup, just remind yourself of that because then you'll be like, oh my God, like it's for a reason that we're not friends.
That is true.
If it's for like some stupid reason, like, I don't know, she ate the rest of your pizza, maybe you should double think that. But at the same time, if she ate the rest of your pizza, that means that she's inconsiderate towards your feelings and that she's also inconsiderate of your space, your boundaries, and everything else. So I guess everything honestly is a red flag. I don't know. Fuck people, I guess.
I think Kai went through a friendship breakup.
I did.
You're going through family problems. I put that it is completely okay to distance yourself from family. I did that at a point in time, and all it did was make it stronger, and it gave me the courage to actually bring the problem to light rather than just like letting the weirdness continue. Like, I think that family, again, they're just people, and you have to put your foot down with them also when they cross the line as well.
I haven't seen my family in 2 years, so I support. Okay, actually, let me just rephrase that. I haven't seen my family in 2 years, so that's because one, I was in the military, and two, tickets to New York are so expensive because it's across the fucking country. But I do have a great relationship with my mom. So me and my mom get along great now. We used to not. We used to be like bickering all the time. So she is someone that I would love to see, and if I could just see her tomorrow, like that would be great. My dad, however, we've had this little like, we have never been on the same page on things. So it's just kind of like, I can say like, yeah, put your foot down, but also at the same time, if there's anything that Aleya has taught me, is that anything can happen. So like, yes, put your foot forward. If you love your parents, like try to keep a relationship with them, because anything can happen. So you never want to like be like, you never want to tell your parents you hate them and then the next day something happens, you know, like you don't want to have any regrets.
That is so true. I didn't mean put your foot down as in telling them I hate you. I meant put your foot down as in like, hey, what just happened is really bothering me. I think that I just need to take some time to think about it, process it. I still love you, but if maybe we don't talk as much for a little bit, that's fine. I think it's because sometimes distancing yourself can make the relationship work better than staying in and just constantly arguing. Because it can lead to an explosion, you know what I mean? So if you need to take some space so things can get better, that's okay, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it.
I agree. Yeah. Because I mean, even for me, like I'm planning on telling my dad, like, hey, we haven't talked in 8 months and it's because of this. But I hope our relationship can, like, I've now had like the time to like process the fight that me and my dad had. So now I'm ready to be like, hey dad, this is what you did wrong. I still love you though, and I hope that we can like mend our relationship. But I don't think you should like, I definitely think that putting your foot down doesn't mean telling your parents that you hate them, unless they're like god awful people who have just like literally been the worst people ever. Don't tell them you hate them. Like, just earn their respect just like how they have to earn yours.
I think you could demand respect respectfully. You can just set boundaries and that will help, I really think. You're having mental health struggles during this season. Basically seasonal depression, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed by adult responsibilities. You're just mentally struggling this season. And to that I say, there's a whole community of people struggling with you. And how did we get through it?
There are definitely ways to make it better. Like for me, oh my god, I had so much anxiety today. Like I just knew that I was just gonna like, I was gonna be all over the place. I was like, let me book a haircut for tomorrow. Well, actually, that was yesterday. So I booked the haircut for today, and like it helped. I would say just self-care on days like this is so important, because at the end of the day, like you only have yourself, and if you can make yourself like not look better, but like if you can just do something for yourself that will make you feel happier about yourself, like it will go a long way on days like this.
I agree with that. I think also like on days where you're feeling more down, I think it's important to pinpoint the problem. Like if you notice that you started feeling down because you were like looking and scrolling on your phone, maybe just like go off for like a couple hours. If you're feeling down because something's wrong, like financially, find a way that you can maybe make some like quick cash. You know what I mean? Like I think identifying the root of your problem is so good, rather than just being like, everything's going wrong, I'm not going to do anything now. Because I have done that, and I do that actually still a lot. But if I just identified the main point of my problems, it would help. And obviously seek help, professional, personal, talk to someone. Those are all the basics, but they do help. Oh, very last one. You're moving out, adjusting to living alone or with roommates, managing rent, and feeling homesick. Girl, just remember why you moved out in the first place, and remember where you're headed. And I'm sure that if you moved, it's putting you on some path in life that is meant for you. Like, even though we're not supposed to stay in Washington, I know that and so many like shitty things happened here. There are also so many great things, and our life wouldn't be at this trajectory if we didn't live here at one point. You know what I mean? And everything's a learning experience. And I've had roommates, I've had arguments with roommates, and I think that a lot of things, if you give it a couple of years, maybe some time, everything becomes a story that you can tell later. If it wasn't for all my shitty experiences, I wouldn't have enough content to tell you guys.
I would say especially if you're moving by yourself, it's gonna be the best time of your life, honestly. It might not seem like it, but when you just move independently into a new place, that's really like your time to discover yourself. You pretty much discover everything about yourself, discover how you actually are. just pretty much like you're just being you now, like without the stress of being around other people, which I understand like how like crazy that can be. Because I mean, I was in the military, so at one point I was just like in my house in Connecticut, and the next day like I was just like all by myself. I didn't know anyone or anything. I would say like that's a prominent time in people's lives, because then you just really get to understand like how you work in different scenarios. And then like with roommates, like I think the one thing I learned was to just let shit go. Like don't think too deep about things. Don't take things personally. Don't.
A lease isn't forever.
Yeah, like a lease is just a lease. If they're dirty, like as long as they're just dirty in their own space, it sucks regardless. But don't let things get too much into your head. You know, at the end of the day, like if you have roommates, it's because you're trying to save money. So just think about it as a temporary solution. You're gonna be out of there soon.
Wow, I did not expect to have you hop on the mic. Are you a pro, Kai?
I think so.
Well, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening. This was not a mini episode. I definitely talk way too much. And be sure to write in any questions, stories, advice that you have with the link in the episode or the link in the Instagram bio at Tease Pod, at Tease Podcast on everything else. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and rate it 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. My Instagram is Aleya Antoine. And I will see y'all next week. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.